Welcome to this episode. Today I have a very special guest with me, Kevin Rains. Kevin is the Product Marketing Manager for Azure HPC, High Performance Computing, technically the Formula One of computing. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Wow, can I take that tagline? What a great job, you're hired.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Kevin, for the audience who doesn't know you, give us a little bit of background information about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the industry for 30 years. I started out as a developer. I've worked in startups, in product groups. So I've kind of done the whole kind of progression within the development team up to PM, corporate teams around sales and marketing, which is where I'm at now. So I've seen a little bit of all of the different kind of pieces on the chessboard, if you will.
That's very impressive. Lots of experience that you bring together in that. Really respect. Now, when you think about in your current role and a little bit looking backwards, the past 12 months, what has been a funny moment that still kind of like makes you smile when you even think about it?
So HPC, the Formula One of cloud, right? It's a very, very complex space. And it's funny that now that I'm in marketing, starting as a developer, the more and more I'm in the space, the more it takes me back to my roots. Because I can distinctly remember so many times through those early years where I couldn't read enough, I wanted to know every language. But whenever it came to anything that smelled, looked, or tasted like sales or marketing, I wanted nothing to do with it. It was, how does it really work? Just let me see for myself. And it's funny, now that I'm in this job, everything I hear my field saying is, you can't sell to them, you can't tell them how to make it work, and I 1,000% agree, because I can totally resonate with that, but it's just funny, 30 years later, nothing has really changed.
Yeah, nothing has changed, yeah. I mean, it is funny, technical people sometimes react a bit allergic to
Yes.
marketing. At the same side, I was joking around with you earlier that everybody has things that marketing told them they needed, even though they don't need it. But yeah, in a sense, we pride ourselves not to be victims to marketing.
Yeah, we're better
IT,
than that.
like, that's for sure. Now, that was the funniest moment, but we know every job has a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
What was like one of the more challenging sides in the past 12 months?
Well, I was slightly making fun of the kind of the sales approach for HPC, but the reality is it's a very, very complicated space. I mean, I was kind of at the beginning of the Azure adoption cycle, if you will, on the Microsoft Consulting Services side, and both from an architect and then sales and marketing as well. And so I remember that journey and a lot of the questions, the concerns, the conversations that we had to have with customers. And so, what was that, 7 or 8 years ago? HPC is very complicated. Not everything goes to the cloud the same way. It's not lift and shift or app modernization for everything. And so 7 or 8 years ago, we're almost at the point where this is becoming very, very real. And so from a challenge perspective, it's to get our heads wrapped around, okay, from a customer obsession, being empathetic to the challenges, how can we practically help them without oversimplifying it? Because the second you do that, you lose credibility.
Yeah, that goes back. And I think that's what technical people really mean when they say kind of like allergic. They don't like if it's oversimplified, because often the reality is much more complicated. We always say everything is easy in the cloud until it isn't.
Yeah.
And that really has a lot with the reality that customers face today. Now, Microsoft is big on growth mindset, and growth not just in the sense of skills, that's definitely a big topic, but also about growth on value side and openness. What was kind of like a growth moment for you in the past 12 months?
Yeah, probably more the last 3 or 4 years, but certainly the last 12 months. I mean, look, there's everybody, however you want to say it, we all have our different skills, or if you want to say we all have our unique superpowers, but when you can get around a group of people and realize where we're all pitching in and adding our strengths, I guess over time I've realized, look, my pride's not that important. If where other people are stronger, I'm happy to facilitate or step back. But how, as a team, do we provide the most value to our end customers? And that's something I continue to learn with and evolve on. But at the end of the day, I think provides the most value in terms of impact all around.
Thank you very much for sharing this with us. Now we talked a lot about the past 12 months and your background. If you look forward, what is one of the most things you're excited about? And I know you can't share product roadmaps, but just in general of what you can share with us. What is one of the most exciting things?
Yeah, I mean, over 30 years, I started out with desktop applications, client server, then, web development, yada, yada, yada. But the point is, you would see product cycles come and go. The economy would go up and go down. But this kind of cloud cycle has been around for a while. And it's not slowing down. In fact, it's only going that much stronger. And so that's amazing. But now HPC is still at the infancy, so it still has a decent runway. And again, there are things I can't share, but I mean, we're being very targeted in who is our customer, what are their needs, how do we have purpose-built hardware to meet those needs. You've probably seen some of the benchmarks that we've announced in the past. Around May or June, we had the HC and the HB VMs. There are others that we'll be announcing soon, but it's just the constant innovation and progress and dedication from our team it's contagious and fantastic.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. It is. I mean, even for me, I always think like, back in the days, right? So you mentioned client-server era.
Yeah.
You kind of like had that thing, and then the service pack mainly brought improvement on the back end if there was features in it, not necessarily for me as the user, but for me as the IT pro, it would help me in my job. But kind of like it was the 2-year cycle or 3-year cycle until, something new, shiny comes out.
Yes.
And now we're used from our smartphones to our devices.
Yeah.
Everything just gets better over time. It's like every month, whatever, we get improvements. It's awesome.
Literally almost every month. It's just, we'll just keep going.
It is insane, that's for sure. So if you think about your overall time, what would be the highlight moment if you had to pick just one since you're the Azure HPC PMM? What would you say was like a top highlight for you?
Yeah, I mean, I can truly say over many years, this is probably the funnest job I've ever had. But there's one moment, and it's shown up twice in the last year, and it's you put a lot of time and energy into telling your story, and that a couple of ways that we do that is really around the conferences or the events. So things like supercomputing, the NVIDIA GTC conference that's coming up this March. But it takes a lot of effort to say, what is our story externally that we want to tell? Who are all the people that we bring into that process? But once you get to the event and you kind of see it come alive, and the energy that's in the room, it's contagious, it's infectious, kind of live for it. So yeah, I can't get enough of those.
That's awesome. Now you see he's smiling a lot when he is talking about obviously what is coming up, when he's looking back. And if you feel like, hey, that sounds actually pretty awesome what Kevin is doing, and you will be interested in pursuing a similar career than what Kevin is doing actually right now, what would be like 2 or 3 tips you could share with the audience?
Yeah, I think it starts with what's your internal drive, what superpower do you bring to the table? And then look, I was a developer. Marketing is the last place I thought I would have ever landed. But you never know how that one opportunity will lead to the next. If you have SME experience in an area, if you're a subject matter expert in infrastructure, an app dev, or whatever, there's always value for that in a marketing type role. We kind of desperately need people that kind of understand it and can communicate it. So I would, if you have passion for it, I highly recommend it. And really, it's about networking and putting yourself out there, but there's plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few openings even in our team. If you're interested, ping us. And so that would be it for today. Kevin, thank you very much for joining me.
As always, David, you're the best.
Thanks. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up, share it with your friends, leave comments, and talk to you soon.